This is Jason Marchek with RCR Wireless News, and I'm here today with Grant Lenahan from Ericsson. Can you talk to me a little bit about how the blend of Ericsson and Telcordia really helps operators start to monetize some of the traffic that they're delivering?
Sure. I think it dominates a lot of our thinking right now. The industry is almost a prisoner of its own success. We are so successful with new networks, with the increasing performance that drives new media types on it, that suddenly bandwidth is just exploding. Consumers really love this. I mean, the amount of video being consumed is astronomical. The key is, how do we do this in such a way that the networks aren't overloaded, that the networks can continue to pay for themselves profitably, and yet the consumer gets a bill at the end of the month that they can work with. And to some degree, we can't just offer more and more and more for less and less and less. We have to find ways to use the network intelligently, drive down the cost of capacity, use all the capacity, not just the peak points. And that's combined where a lot of our OSS and BSS software, policy software, smart charging software, I think you're going to see the network beginning to interact with consumers so that we take advantage of all the resources that are deployed.
Gotcha. And you mentioned video. Can you speak specifically on how the OSS BSS software that Telcordia brings to the table helps? And you mentioned policy and rating, but how specifically with respect to video?
Yeah, the reason, by the way, that I picked on video as the example is that it is the largest driver of bandwidth and probably going to continue to be the largest driver of bandwidth. But the same sort of technology and approaches can be used for all sorts of media types. And our portfolio does a number of things, from optimizing networks so that they're always working at peak efficiency, to allowing heterogeneous networks to exist, small cells, macro cells, Wi-Fi cells seamlessly, to things like policy and charging, where you can look at the technology demands of different users on the network and prioritize them so that you get the most throughput, the best pricing for each customer, and overall each user gets the performance and the bandwidth they need. They don't feel like they're being limited in any way, and yet what you effectively have is a very smart traffic cop making the resource perform better and monetizing it in ways that are better possibly for both.
So one issue as we talk about monetization of the network assets would be moving from a model of mass marketing services to segmenting and really drilling down and identifying specific service opportunities. Can you talk a little bit about what Telcordia brings in terms of enabling that?
Right. I think the industry, and the web is a great example, gives consumers very individualized services. And the telcos and the mobile industry needs to follow that if they want to maximize their revenue and also have the happiest customers. And so a lot of, in fact, our next generation of OSS and BSS concentrates not on how can I take a mass service and roll it out to 20 million people, but how can I take 1,000 customized versions of that service and permutations and roll it out in a way that's very efficient, very agile, and people can effectively create their own services. So I see a lot of the things effectively moving from the network layer to the service layer and then to allowing interaction and customization with consumers. I think it's a tremendous frontier, and we want to help push that forward.